Hello again. So we are at the point once more where we look at what I've been painting. Um, Last time when I did this was just before Origins, so I mentioned paint and take they have. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it then. I did do it. Someone had beholder ducks. Now beholders are, or duck beholders perhaps. Beholders are giant eyeballs with mouths, and they have all these little tentacles with other eyeballs on them. And someone made a duck version of it. You can see his eye better. So what happened was I did a quick paint job because they only let you sit there for about an hour. And then later I accidentally dropped it and it broke because it's on spindly little legs here. And you can sort of tell my glue job, one of the legs, the one in the back here, you can sort of tell it didn't line up very well when I glued it back together. But I did a retouch job on the paint. That's my beholder duck. Get used in a game unless I want to just do it as a comic thing. You run into a beholder and I use the duck instead. You rarely run into beholders. Now, on that note, I decided I wanted to do a real beholder. So I found there is Next Level Miniatures have. They call this an Elder Eye instead of a beholder because I think beholder might be a copyrighted thing. So this is a more realistic beholder. Better paint job too because they had more time to do it. And again, it's just a sort of floating eyeball with other eyeballs coming off it. Now, one thing I noticed is these past few minis I've been doing, at least the ones I've done at home, have done a lot. I've got the dry brush technique. So I'm going to actually doing a separate video on that because why not? I've occasionally done videos on how to paint as opposed to just painting and rambling as I normally do. And so I'm probably going to do one on the dry brush technique, and he uses it. So some of the minis you see today, and some you saw the last video I showed minis, they're going to have repeats because I used a lot of them. This guy didn't turn out as well. I don't know what he's supposed to be. This is one from Reaper. Again, scales works. Dry brush technique works well with scales, but in this case, the scales were just very small, sort of shallow, let's say, so it didn't turn out as well. And again, I'll explain that more he's got the weird little Ankylosaurus tail going there. He's got the huge underbite with weird teeth. Don't know what he's supposed to be. Just came with a bunch of Reaper stuff I bought at one point. What else do we got here? Got a guy riding a dragon. And again, dragons you can generally try to do the dry brush technique on. This guy, it's a white, I made him a white dragon, which meant I'd be using white and some off-white color so it doesn't show up as well. Plus, it's a smaller figure, so the scales on it are going to be harder to do the dry brush technique on. So I didn't really show up as well on him as it would on others. It did work well on her. Now, she's got a bunch of knives and stuff, so I decided, what do I want to do? I want to make her scales look sort of armor-like. So I made them gold, because I didn't want to be steel color, metal, gray, whatever. And it went well. I think it went well with the green base they put on her. So that's one thing. Also, I did it on her hair. So did a layer of red, yellow, and then some green dry brush technique over that. I could have tried it on her armor, or the little armbands there, but might not have turned out as well. So one thing about her, everyone makes reptiles green. And so reptiles, not all reptiles are green. There you get reddish ones, you get yellowish ones. So I've been trying to experiment on making different colored is all their minis they had were like lizard men and army men and things that we would paint in green typically. So people were, instead of using up all the green, people were using up all the yellow and blue. I've discussed children and how they'll just blop a big thing of paint on the middle of their uh, paper plate they're using for a palette and end up wasting paint. So instead of doing that with green, they were doing it with blue and yellow, and they wasted two colors of paint instead of one. And so I did my travels this year, and like I said, I tried to went to Edinburgh again, as you know from past videos. 2025 Edinburgh, and I made two pirate mouselings. Reaper calls them. And I try to do like one miniature a day when I travel, just because I don't want to spend all my time running around like a tourist, and I'm there to relax a little, and painting's relaxing, so watch a little TV, eat a little lunch, do a little painting. And to save space in my bag, I decided, well, yellow and blue makes green, red and blue makes purple, etc., etc. Yellow and red make orange, so I don't have to buy as much paint this time around. I'll just mix them. And I made that the paint and take mistake of the green. I started running out of paints because I was mixing colors. So like I said, I tried one a day, but some of the things I bought came in multiples per pack, so I ended up doing more than one per day. So here are the multiples I had. I got a couple baby dragons, made one red, sort of trying to did one again. I'm trying to do my reptiles in different colors, so I did one in blue. Didn't turn out as well. Again, if we was larger, I could have done a little more detail, made the scales better. Then we got this sort of chibi figure, little girl pirate or whatever, and her alligator familiar. And he was more fun to paint because he got the eye patch and all, and was just more creative, carrying the cannonball. Ooh, that's a good shot of him. And then there were two more mouselings I did, Viking mouselings. And so we got the guy with his axe, and the female with her spear. And see, one thing I didn't notice about her was at the time while I was buying these, I also bought a regular sized Valkyrie. So unintentionally, I sort of duplicated my, she's got a spear, shield, or a sword instead of a spear. But I sort of unintentionally duplicated the mouseling with a human figure. Again, did that largely because I could do a more detail on her. Because that's one thing. I like things which have detail on them that you can actually see. So they're funner to paint, more fun to paint. What else did we do? Weird rhinoceros man. Don't know what this is on his back. Supposed to be a sword or something, but sort of an alien lord. Again, a lot of detail to do, so we're sort of fun. And werewolf, we can do a quick and dirty job on. I like this figure. I got like 20 of this figure I painted, just doing different color schemes. Sometimes I like to do that just as a sort of a study type thing. Just what different effects can I get on the same figure? Lizard man. Again, lizard man's sort of fun to do because you can try them in different colors and stuff, but I did this one in green. Female vampire. Yeah, I think I got this one just because I figured it would be easier to do. I just I knew there would be some days I didn't want to paint as much, so I would just got one, flesh tone, hair color, dress color. I did her gloves in white just for to be different. And because I was back in Scotland and the Dundee girl was in the news recently, I tried to find one where she had an axe and a knife, and I think I've seen minis of that. So I was going to do my dedication to the Dundee girl, and unfortunately I couldn't find one. This is as close as I could, so I didn't try to do it as the Dundee girl. If I ever find a good figure of a short little halfling type with a axe and a knife, I will do a Dundee girl because that's what the world needs more of. Little girls who will defend themselves against bad guys in the park. Oh, that was it. Be another 20 episodes before we look at more painting. Other than the fact, like I said, I'm going to try to do a dry brush technique instruct tutorial video. Won't go into a lot of detail on that one probably, but that's it. Have a nice day.